Hey there. This is 5 Habits of Serious Screenwriters. I'm going to list all 5 off, and then I'm going to go into depth on each one and why I have a bead on these things and what they can do for you. The 5 habits of serious screenwriters are: they write or they make things without excuses. They have clear, that's number 1. Number 2, they have clear, insightful views on films and life. Number 3, they crave feedback. Number 4, they seek great peers and collaborators. And number 5, they have a mindful method to their madness. They think in systems and they are adjustable. So let's get into this in a little more depth. I am Brooks Elms. I am a working WA screenwriter, and I also love to coach other serious writers. And I have been a part of this game since the 90s. I went to NYU Film School. And so in that time, I've seen a lot of people who were drawn to telling stories, the highest levels, and some have fallen away and some have done really well. And so I have a pretty interesting front row seat on what separates all of them. In particular, when I was my first night at NYU, I was hanging out with Eli Roth, the horror filmmaker, and he actually, he was wearing a Dick Tracy t-shirt, and I was like, what? Why would you get that t-shirt? I hated that movie. And I don't know, he liked that movie. So we chatted and we started talking very quickly, and he said, oh yeah, he made a bunch of movies in high school. He had made like 50 movies before he got to NYU. And I was like, oh, I made like 50 movies before I got to NYU. And then we went up to his dorm and we were watching his movies, which were awesome, really, really funny. Most of the stuff he did at that era in his life was all comedy. It was really great. And I showed him my stuff, and my stuff, a lot of it was comedy, and we had a great time. Then I ended up being his DP on some of his student films. And anyway, he was a good friend, but he's a really good example of somebody that's really crushed it, right? And when I look at him and the other people as a whole in that generation, there's really 3 camps. There's the people that were, God bless them, but I don't know why they were even at NYU. I think they liked movies and they're like, I didn't want to go to a real school, but they, I don't know how they got in. I don't know what they were doing there. That was probably about half. And then the other half were really serious, right? And then those have since become working writers like me that do it full time, love it, really enjoy it. And there's, I know a bunch of those people. And then there's a people that not only are working writers, but they've really crushed it. This project's taken off. They've gotten a series of things produced, and they're crushing it. And some of those people are just set for life, right? So in terms of money-wise, so those are the 3 different groups. And because I have also a background in personal growth, I'm fascinated in choices that you can make to maximize your talent to get at least into the working writer camp, and really maximize your chance to go even further than that. So let's dig into it. And the last thing I'll say is that I've always been most excited by working with serious filmmakers or writers, even from the beginning. And I have love for everybody. And, so if you're a hobbyist or you're not sure, or you're doing some of these things, I'm still sending you love. It's just the ones that I really like to work with and speak to are the ones that are really like kind of killers about it, So, and the last thing I'll say is that even if you are kind of, you're not sure, it's a blah, 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 like if you're on the fence, but you're ready to move, then this video is also for you. Here are the 5 habits of serious screenwriters in depth. Number 1, they make things or they write things, and there's no excuses. These are people like I said, Eli and I, we were just making stuff, 50 projects before we got to NYU, right? Because you're doing it because you love it. You're doing it because you can't not do it. There's no excuses. And again, I'm not saying that there's degrees, right? Everybody gets blocked to some extent in some ways or whatever. But in general, you just do it. You're focused on doing stuff, getting it out there, and you love it. You love that process. So you're doing things. That's number 1. Number 2. Serious screenwriters have thoughts about life. They have opinions and they can express them, and they're clear about their opinions, and they're able to share them with specificity. and that there's thoughts about movies and thoughts about life. And they're fascinating to talk to because of that. Because that's the one thing that you have that's different than any other human being ever, is your own specific perspective based on your body and your life journey. And the serious storytellers own that fully. And they also have a sense of humility in that even though I own my own perspective, it's no better or worse than anybody else's. It's the buck stops with me if I'm making a movie or I'm writing a screenplay, until I sell it and then I collaborate with other people. But ultimately, it's just that opinion, but I fully own it as a totally valuable opinion, if that makes sense. So that's two. Number three, they crave feedback. And partly because they're so confident in their own opinion, they want to hear what other people think. They want to know when it's not working for people. And they're comfortable going, oh, this didn't work for you? That's interesting. And they find out where the gap is. And because you can either go, oh, that didn't work for you? Oh, that's interesting. Well, maybe this story isn't for you. Or you can go, oh, that didn't work for you. Oh, that's interesting because this story really is for you. What's that gap between what you think would make this amazing and where it is now, so that I can close that gap? And serious storytellers want that. They want to close that gap so that there's nothing there. It's fully realized. Number four, great serious storytellers will seek out other peers. Like attracts like. When I went to NYU, again, that's why I was so struck by half the people that weren't all that serious. The other half, I got while they were there. Two of those people in that class were actually up for Oscars this year, right? So this was people that were just all about it. And it's just a level of fascination and your passion, and it just feels comfortable to be around other people that are as devoted about it as you are. People that really aren't that serious don't create a lifestyle design where they are around those people all that much. And all these things, if you're like, oh, you know what, that's true, I don't really do that as much, you can do this for yourself. You just have to fully commit to it. Maybe this video is the catalyst for you to make a change. Fifth is that they'll have methodology. Some people have different feelings about story structure, but like even people that like hate story structure, they still are doing story structure. They might not even be that like conscious of it, but I promise you there are the patterns, and they're doing it mindfully, especially if they're already working at the professional level. But my invitation to you to really deepen this habit is lean into your systems. Think of things systematically. So it's not the only way you can do it. It's the way you've been doing it now, and you're open to figuring out ways to do it better, more deeply, more consistently, more sustainably, with less effort, more flow state. Those things are all choices you can make based on your systems to hone in your traits. And I actually have a free 5-question self-evaluation about the 5 core systems that, to my mind, really make the difference between somebody that's working at the professional level or not yet. And if you can click the link, you can find it around this post, and it's just a free self-eval, so you can go, oh, where am I on this particular thing? It's mindset, your social system, your screenwriting system, your sales system, and I forget the 5th one. Sales. Let me think about it. Sales, writing, mindset, social, and I'm still forgetting it. Anyway, you can click the link, you can check it out. But what will help you is if one of your numbers are really low, then go get support in the best way possible for you on whatever budget you're working with to get that number up. But once your numbers are like 9s, you're averaging 9s out of 10, I promise you're going to be in that camp that makes money on this on the regular, is one of these working writers, and positions you the best way possible to really hit it and just go to that whole other level. Okay, that makes sense. If you have any questions, follow up. But I appreciate you listening to this, and I'm sending you lots and lots of love, and I hope you have the absolute best day of your life.